Hello, welcome back to Animated Literacy. This is lesson number 51 from the Story Song and Action book. In our last lesson, we learned about a character named Lulu Moose, and we learned in her story that it was her very first birthday, and for her birthday, she received a brand new blue flute. And she also got a pair of her dad's antlers that he had shed the previous winter. So she's dancing around, playing dress up with her dad's antlers, playing a tune on her new blue flute, and she was so excited she forgot to tie her shoes, so she tripped over a shoelace, and her new blue flute bumped right into her loose tooth, and out came the tooth. So when we think of Lulu Moose, we think of wiggling our loose tooth. Put your finger in front of your mouth like this and go, ooh, for the vowel sound in tooth. Now, if we put that into some of our foods, if Lulu Moose was to eat a squash, we wouldn't call it a squash, we would call it what? A squoosh. If Lulu Moose was going to eat a potato, we get 3 tries. Ready? Poo-too-too. Can you say that? Poo-too-too. And if Lulu Moose was going to eat a tomato, she wouldn't call it a tomato. What would she call it? Ready? To-moo-too. Can you do that? To-moo-too. Now, Lulu has more ways to spell her sound than just about any other character. So one of the good ways to practice all the different ways that she can spell her sound is by singing her song over and over again. Because the first half of Lulu Moose's song tells her story, and the second half tells the letters that we use to spell her sound. So let's practice that once. Here's Lulu Moose again. So first she's tooting on her flute.
While tooting on her new flute, Lulu bumped a loose tooth. A new tooth was about to come out. Came the loose tooth. O spells the oo in tooth. O-U spells oo in Lulu. U-E spells the oo in flute. E-W-S or new tooth.
So you can just sing that part of the song over and over and over again to remind you of some of the spellings for Lulu Moose. So you could sing, O spells the oo in tooth. O-U spells oo in Lulu. U-E spells the oo in flute. E-W-S for new tooth. Now to practice that, we have a lot of pictures that we can learn to draw and label today. Before we do that, you might have done this from the Story Song and Action book, where there was a picture of a man in the moon, and then a mixed up sentence down at the bottom that says, a man was on the moon. And so we're going to be talking about the man in the moon a bit today. This is a really fun Skybrary book about the man in the moon, and this is called The Boy and the Moon. And in this story, the boy loves watching the moon and thinking about the man in the moon, and then he gets really scared and upset when the moon gets stuck in a tree. Well, if you read this book on Skybrary, or if you get the actual book from the library or a bookstore, you can find out how this boy got that moon out from being stuck in the tree. So we're going to start our drawing today by drawing a picture of the man in the moon. And the moon that we're going to draw is what's called a crescent moon, because this is a curved shape of a crescent. You might also have a crescent roll, or some people call it a croissant, is that shape. So we're going to begin by making our crescent shape for the moon. So we'll take out our pen, put our cap on the other end, and we're going to start up in the corner here. And I'm going to make a curve that comes around like this, very much like making a capital C. Then after that, I'm going to come back up to where I started. I'm going to curve back and then come out for the nose. And then we're going to curve back up again like so. Now we need our eye. So here's the eye for the man in the moon. And he needs a mouth to eat with. So here's our mouth. Now let's see if we can write the word moon. Everybody say moon. What do you hear first? Mimi Mermaid moving her magic mop. And how do we spell that sound? With an M, so straight down, and two humps coming up. What's the next sound you hear in moon? Moon. O spells the oo in tooth. How are we going to spell that? O, like in tooth. And that says moo. Who says moo? A cow says moo. Okay. Moon. What do you hear on the end of moon? Moon. Nibbling. N for nibbling. So now we can put our moon in a circle and tie the string to the moon. Now we're going to write another word that also has oo, only this time I'm not going to tell you what it is we're drawing. I think you'll figure it out pretty fast though. So I'm just going to give you the rhyme in the word. And the rhyme in the word starts with our vowel, because all rhymes begin with a vowel. And then it has Sadie Seal's sound. What's Sadie Seal's sound for S? S for surfing. And a lot of words that end in S get an extra E on the end. That's really not doing anything except taking up space. So what does O-O-S spell? Oos. Oos. Let's see what we can draw a picture of that ends in oos. So I'm going to come over here just about to the middle of my paper. And I'm going to start by making an eye. And give it a pupil, like so. Then I'm going to come down a little ways, and I'm going to make a small dot. Now I'm going to come back to my eye, and I'm going to go from the top of the eye down around the dot and back up, and then a little curve for the mouth. Now I'm going to come back over here. Now I'm going to make two lines coming up, and then out a little bit and up, kind of like, almost like a cactus. So this animal has an antler coming up. Then I'm going to continue this line a little bit more past the eye, and this time I'll come up from more next to the eye with two lines, and then come up with kind of my cactus shape again. Make another antler. Okay. So now let's see how we're going to make the legs on this animal. So let's start here from the mouth, and we're going to curve out a little bit and down, up for one leg, down, up for another leg, and then over with the tummy. Now let's give it two more legs. So come down again, up, down again, and up. Now we need to draw the back of the animal. So we're going to come up and around, and then we're going to connect right back to those antlers. Now this animal has a tail. I'm going to come over here. Now can you guess what we just drew a picture of? This is a moose. So what does moose start with? Moose. So there's Mimi Mermaid again, just like we did for moon. So let's put our moose inside a circle and tie the string on. Now we're going to draw another word that rhymes with moose. So let's write oos again. O-O-S-E. Oos. And I left a space there because it has three letters that are going to come at the front. So the first thing we're going to draw for this next object is a long straight line. Then I'm going to put another long straight line on top of that one and connect them with a curve. Then I'm going to come up a little bit, connect that with a curve. So this is like a little tiny house sitting on top of a long, tall roof. Now I'm going to come over here and come straight down with a line. come straight down with another line. And then I'm going to come out a little bit from here, out a little bit from here, and then connect them with a straight line. Mine's not real straight, but you can make yours straighter probably. Then I'm going to make some steps to get up. So I'm going to come across like this and up with a little step. Come over here, make another little step. Now we need some wheels. So I'm going to come in front of my step and make 2 circles for wheels and connect them with a straight line. And then kind of attach them. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. 1 wheel, another wheel, connect them. And now we need something to hold on to. So I'm going to come up here with a little post. Up here with a little post. So now you can stand on either end and hold on to the railing. Now we need a door. So I'm going to come right in the center here. Make 2 lines down. I can put a little window in my door. Another window, a couple windows over here. A couple windows here with little rectangles. Can anybody guess what we drew a picture of? This is what used to always go on the back of a train, and it was called a caboose. Now, most trains don't have cabooses anymore because the reason for a caboose was that's where the conductor kept his office, and he's the one who drove the train, and also the brakeman who stopped the train had an office in the caboose. But computers do most of that nowadays, so trains don't need to have a caboose for the engineer and for the brakeman. So say caboose. Now come way over here and leave some space because there's going to be 3 letters we need to fit in. So the first sound is k for catching. So let's make a letter C for crazy camel. What's the next sound? Caboose. I hear but this time we're not going to spell it with Uncle Upton's letter U. Sometimes Actress Annie's letter A makes Uncle Upton's sound. And that's what happens in this word. So let's listen for the next sound. Caboose. Boose. Caboose. What do you hear next? B. Baby Barnaby's sound. And how does he spell it? With a B. So that says caboose, which rhymes with moose. And we have another word that rhymes with moose. So let's come back over here and we're going to write our rhyme again. So find a place where you've got room on your paper and make another 2 O's for oo. Make your S again and your E. What does that spell? Oos again. So here we are with our next word for oos. We're going to make an I again. So make a circle. Put a dot inside your circle for the pupil. Now we're going to make a curve that goes right over the top. Now we're going to make a long beak that comes out. So I'm going to come out with a pointy line like this, and back and out with another pointy angle line like so. Show me when you're ready for the back of this animal. We're going to start from here, and I'm going to curve down and up, and then I'm going to add some feathers. Have you guessed what we're drawing yet? Then I'm going to come from there, curve down, and back up to here. Now we'll give it another wing by coming in here, like so. Now it needs some legs and feet. So I'm going to come down with 2 lines. And then another foot over here, down with 2 lines. Up. And can you guess what we drew a picture of that rhymes with moose? This is a what? Goose. Say goose. What do you hear first in goose? G. G for gliding. How do we? So here's my G. Now it looks like 3 O's in a row. Then down with our curve and back up with our hook. And there we have a goose. Okay. Well, there's a lot of fun words that have ooh sound in them. This is one of my favorites. Let's come over here, and this is going to have ooh, but it's not going to have s at the end. Instead, it's going to have this. We're going to have O for ooh. Then we're going to have D for Daisy Dragon. So what do we have? Ood. Ood. Then it's going to have Lizzie Lamb sound, so put a straight line for an L. Oodle. And this one, just like oos, has an extra E at the end. So we're going to draw something that has the rhyme or that ends with oodle. So let's see. Let's come over here. And I'm going to make 2 circles for eyes. Come back and add your dot for a pupil. Then I'm going to come in between, make another dot for a nose. This probably looks very familiar to you. 2 curves coming up for our mouth and a curve for the tongue. So we've drawn that many times, only we're going to change it a little bit now. Now we're going to come just past this eye, and I'm going to make some little curvy lines, like so. Now we're going to come and make those lines come up into a little puff up there on top. Now we're going to come down next to the eye. Get to make lots of these little wiggly lines today. Then we're going to come way out to the side and then back up to the puff. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We'll come down next to the eye, come out, and then come back into the little puff. So there's some ears. What is this looking like? Can you guess yet? Now let's give it a jaw. Let's come down and connect the 2 ears. Now let's give it some legs. So let's come down from here with some more little wiggly lines, and the same thing on the other side. Then connect them at the bottom, and then a wiggly line in the middle. Now it needs some haunches. So I'm going to come with another little puff over here, and another little puff over here. And can you guess what we drew a picture of? A poodle. So poodle ends with oodle. What does it start with? Poodle. What do you hear first? Painting. And how do we spell it? With a P. So straight line down, start your P, and then a curve. And there's a poodle. Now we need a word to rhyme with poodle. So let's start with oodle again. Ooh, make your 2 O's. D, ood. Ood. And what comes next? O. And what did we have on the end? An E. So let's see what else can rhyme with oodle. This is something that Nellie Newt would like. Let's leave a little bit of space here. Make a straight line. Come down from the center of that straight line. Put a dot. Come out each side from the dot. Then curve down to your straight line from that side. Down from this side. Now let's give it a handle. So let's come out and out. So now what do we have? Now we have a picture of a cup. Let's see what's going to be in that cup. I'm going to make almost like a stick sticking out. Another stick coming this way, 2 straight lines, and they can go right past that stick. and connect. Now if you want to make it a little bit wavy instead of straight, you can do that. And here's another one coming out. So here's all these flat things, and here's one that's just sort of dripping down the side of the cup. Can you guess what Nellie Newt would like that could be coming out of that cup? Noodles. What's the first sound you hear in noodle? It ends with oodle, and what does it start with? For nibbling. So let's put our word noodle in a circle and tie the string to the noodle. Let's try one more for a different way to spell her sound. This time, I'm just going to make a curve that looks like this. Then I'm going to put a little circle at each end of that curve. And then I'm going to come to the bottom of the circle and come a little bit fatter and tie it on. And then add another curve in the middle. What does that look like? Kind of looks like a banana. But we're not going to call it a banana. Let's see what else we can add. I'm going to start from the top of the banana over here. Then I'm going to give a stem. Then I'm going to come over here and give a kind of a leaf here at the end. What can we call something when there's both an apple and a banana? That's called what? Fruit. Say fruit. What's the first sound you hear? F for fishing. What's the next sound in fruit? Fruit. R. R for riding. Fruit. Oh, there's Lulu sound. And this time, she's going to use a different spelling, a letter U and a letter I. What's the last sound you hear in fruit? Fruit. T for tickling. Let's put fruit in a circle. Now we've got kind of a fun little song where we get to use our man in the moon. This is a Skybrary book where some children are given some fruits and vegetables from their mom and told to have fun and play with them and then eat them. And so they make little faces with all the fruits and vegetables. And so here's a clown and an alien and a cat and a tiger and a robot and a queen that they make. Well, we have a song where there's a man named Aikendrum. And he's the man who lives in the moon. And his face is made out of all kinds of food, just like in the Skybrary story. So let's listen to just a little bit of that. And it sounds like this.
There was a man lived in the moon, in the moon, in the moon. There was a man lived in the moon, and his name was Aikendrum.
So here's a ladle. The moon's playing with a ladle.
He played upon a ladle, and his name was Aikendrum.
And his head was made of green cheese, of green cheese, of green cheese. His head was made of green cheese, and his name was Aikendrum. And he slept upon a white cloud, a white cloud, a white cloud. He slept upon a white cloud, and his name was Aikendrum.
Okay, well, here's a frame for Aikendrum. And we're going to write a verse and see what we can make some part of Aikendrum out of. And this one reads like this. It goes, there was a man lived in the moon, in the moon, in the moon. There was a man lived in the moon, and his name was Aikendrum. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make his hair out of food. So if you have this page, you can track it with me. There was a man lived in the moon, in the moon, in the moon. There was a man lived in the moon, and his name was Aikendrum. Now we're going to make his hair out of something. So let's write the word hair. Hair starts like hippy hippo with his letter H. Then it has Abe's sound. Now we haven't learned his story yet, but we've played with his sound. And Abe's sound is spelled sometimes with an A and an I. So put H-A-I on your page. And A-I spells A for Abe skating to the bay. And then put an R at the end. And that says hair. Now let's see what we can make his hair into. And his name was Aikendrum. And his hair was made of... You remember the noodles that we just drew a picture of? Let's draw a picture of noodles for his hair. So let's write the word noodle. What's it start with? N for nibbling. Ooh, O for Lulu Moose. Noodle. D for dancing. Noodle. There's Lizzie Lamb sound. And there's that extra E on the end. And his hair was made of noodles. So we're going to put an S because there's more than one. Noodles. And his hair was made of noodles. And his name was Aikendrum. So what do you need to draw a picture of up here? You need to draw your man in the moon again. And what are you going to add to the man? Just like we put in our cup, we drew a picture of the noodles coming out of our cup. You can draw your picture of your man in the moon and then add those noodles for his hair. So I hope you enjoyed doing some drawing with Nellie Newt's or with Lulu Moose's sound today. And in our next lesson, we're going to learn about another character who also spells their sound with O-O, but it's not oo. So we'll find out what that sound is in our next lesson. Hope you enjoyed that.